Hey guys, it's Dr. J, the sports dietitian with Blue Green Training, and this video is going to be talking about calorie volume. More specifically, how much food do you need to eat if you're training twice a day? We're also going to talk about some negative consequences if you're not optimally fueling your body. And then we're going to briefly look at some practical tips that you can apply and incorporate them into your daily routine in order to meet your personal goals. Now, when we're looking at calorie volume and just thinking about nutrition timing, it's really important to make sure that we use this tool to enhance our performance and recovery. If you're not properly fueling your body, you're going to have these negative consequences that will impact the hard work that you're doing in your training sessions. More specifically, as we're doing these activities, training twice a day, we are going to need a larger amount of calorie intake in order to support our daily needs and the physical activity expenditure, as well as if we're trying to build more muscle mass to add volume to our bodies. So energy intake through food becomes a really important tool that we have to be strategic and plan out. Now, when we look at the planning of nutrition intake, we can look at having a well balance of carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Carbohydrates are required before, during, and after physical activity. Before physical activity, you're going to want about 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates 30 to 60 minutes before you begin that activity. Things like one banana is about 30 grams of carbohydrates, just to give you a little bit of context. During physical activity, if it's less than 45 minutes, you don't need any carbohydrates, just hydrate with water. 45 minutes to 75 minutes, you're going to need a sports drink, so take a Gatorade with you. And then anything over 75 minutes, we do want about 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates every hour. Things like raisins you can pack in your bag or those glucose chews. I personally prefer food because we get those synergistic effects and it tastes better. And then after your training, depending on if you engage in anaerobic, so things like weightlifting, or aerobic activity, so things like rucking, you're going to need different carbohydrate intake post-workout. So if you engage in something like weightlifting, which is anaerobic work, you're going to need about 40 grams of carbohydrates, compared to if you do aerobic training, like rucking, you're going to need about 80 grams of carbohydrates after your workout. The second macronutrient is protein. And while we're in this phase, we need protein about every 3 hours, 20 to 30 grams of protein. Make sure you choose high quality proteins that really give extra nutrients for your body to support recovery and repairing our muscle tissue. By consuming high quality proteins every 3 hours, we're able to provide a constant supply of amino acids, which amino acids are the basic building block to repair our muscle and also grow new muscle. And finally, fat allows us to add a lot of calorie volume for a small portion. And it also has beneficial properties like anti-inflammatory. If we look at fats like olive oil or avocado, that anti-inflammatory property of the fat can really help us repair from our extra hard training days. Now, when we look at the overall nutrition timing, that is important because this allows us to really maintain that anabolic phase. What do I mean by anabolic phase? Is basically just a way to make sure that we can build and maintain as well as grow new muscle for our bodies. So you're going to be getting all the benefits from your training super hard and making sure that you're fueling your body in order to add that new muscle to your body, which is going to enhance your performance goals overall. Without adequately fueling our bodies, we're going to get negative consequences like decreasing our speed. It's going to take longer for us to recover. We are going to feel more fatigued during the activity and then feel lethargic throughout the day because we don't have that energy necessary for our basic needs as well as all the extra energy expenditure from those 2 workouts per day. It also can compromise other systems within our body like our immune health, which might be getting sicker more often, which would also impact your overall training. And then last thing for women, if we're not adequately fueling our body, we can have irregular menstrual cycles. For these reasons, as well as the fact that you are hitting it hard and training really hard, you want to make sure that you are timing out your nutrition and getting a nice balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Let's look at just an example of how much you actually do need throughout the day, because it might be alarming how many calories you are required in order to meet that daily need. I'm going to give myself as an example. I weigh 150 pounds. I work out a fair amount of time. Therefore, my baseline every day, I need about 2,400 calories. Not a lot, but it could be more for you depending on your body size, and making sure that you are able to understand that that's not a one fit for everybody. So again, based off me, if I was gonna go rucking in the morning for 2 hours with 20 pounds on my back, it's going to cost me, basically I'm going to expend 1,300 calories just during those 2 hours. Then let's say I go in the afternoon, I go to the gym and I weightlift for about an hour. That's gonna expend or cost me another 500 calories. So when you combine my baseline needs plus rucking plus the weightlifting, I need to eat about 4,200 calories on that day that I did both rucking and weightlifting. Now keep in mind that rucking is going to cost a lot more energy, meaning you're going to burn more calories during that compared to a weightlifting session. So if you're not participating in both of those activities in the same day, you will want to adjust your calorie intake for that day. And also, those numbers I just gave you is based off of me as a female at 150 pounds, and it might be more or less for you depending on your body size. So 1,400 calories is a significant amount of food, especially when we look at choosing more healthy foods, right? Because if we are focusing on more nutrient dense and healthy, high quality foods, they have lower calories typically. So this means that we're gonna have to be even more mindful about planning out our nutrition to make sure that we are dialed in to getting those 4,200 calories for the day. A couple of example meals that's gonna provide you about 500 calories for that meal. If for breakfast, if I have 1 cup of egg whites plus 2 whole eggs plus 1 cup of oatmeal and 1 cup of blueberries, that's approximately 500 calories. For lunch, if I have 6 ounces of chicken, 1 cup of green vegetables, and 1 cup of rice, that's about 500 calories. And then for dinner, if I had 6 ounces of steak, 1 baked potato or sweet potato that's baked, plus 1 cup of vegetables, again, about 500 calories. So you can see from those 3 meals, that's only 1,500 calories, but I have to consume 4,200 calories for the day. This means that I need to be adding some fat to those meals in order to boost up that calorie intake, as well as have some small meals or snacks in between those larger meals to make sure that I'm getting about 4,200 calories for the day. Again, we're gonna be adjusting this based off if we've been doing both rucking and weight training on the same day, or if we did one or the other for that day. You have to be mindful about the energy cost of those activities and adjust your calorie intake for that. So as you can see, it is very important to make sure that you adjust your calorie volume based off your training volume. If your goal is to optimize your performance and hit a higher muscle gain, you have to dial in the nutrition and make sure that you're adequately fueling your body and giving it the energy that it needs in order to maintain its basic metabolic needs, meet the physical demand requirements, and gain muscle. Making sure that you are actually putting in the work to your nutrition to support the work that you're putting in your training is an important tool that you can use to really elevate and hit your peak performance. If you need more information, don't forget about our nutrition guides that can provide you a lot more detail about nutrition just in general in order to help you meet your personal goals. Until next time, y'all.